Another summer of transfer business has come to an end. There's been a notable drop-off in spending, but there's still some exciting deals to look back on. So let's take a look through some of the biggest stories of the summer window. Hello and welcome to Football Now. One of the most exciting parts about football in the summer is the closely watched transfer window. As the optimism begins to build ahead of the new campaign, this can be bolstered massively by your club adding a couple of fresh faces to the squad. Now, for the most part, that has been the same this year, but spending across Europe is actually down by an average of 14%. So, what's changed?
There's a few factors. For Premier League teams, certainly the Premier League rules and regulations around profit and sustainability, PSR, have been shown to have some teeth. For many clubs, that 105 million figure over a 3-year period has kind of remained in situ for more than a decade now and it's not really moved. I mean, yet we have inflation and the cost of things goes up. Also, there are a couple of other factors. The fact that we've had disruption this summer because of the European Championship, so maybe some of the deals may not have been done. It requires everyone to partake in reality. So across Europe, you need active participants in the market. So you need people in Italy and France and Spain to spend big to allow the kind of the flow of money to keep on going around. I think it's the start of maybe a little bit more austerity in the transfer market.
2024's summer transfer window is now officially closed, and despite less cash being spent, there are still some completed deals that could spice things up this season. Let's take a look at some of the best ones. In the most high-profile move of the summer, Kylian Mbappe joined Real Madrid on a free transfer from Paris Saint-Germain. He had been linked with a move to Los Blancos for many years, and it's finally become a reality. He was unveiled to more than 80,000 fans at the Bernabeu in July, an emotional moment for a player who's dreamed of wearing the white shirt of Madrid since he was young.
It's huge news, obviously, not only for Real Madrid, but also for Spanish football and for La Liga, to have now the best player in the world, in my opinion, or at least the most decisive one. To see the Bernabeu full of people for just a player unveiling, it's something that you don't get to see every day. This means a lot for him, but not only playing for Real Madrid, but having Zidane by his side in his unveiling at the Bernabeu, having the chance to match what his idol Cristiano Ronaldo did also in Madrid. He was so happy, he had all this positive energy, you could see that he was a fan, not only from Ronaldo, but also for Real Madrid.
It's pretty difficult to replace Mbappe, but PSG will attempt to do just that, with the signing of Desiree Doué from Stade Rennes. The 19-year-old arrives with a €50 million price tag after making 31 appearances for Rennes last season. Elsewhere in Europe, it was a summer where attackers were in the highest demand. Julian Alvarez, Dominic Solanke, Pedro Neto, Michael Olise and Romelu Lukaku have all joined new clubs. Spain star Dani Olmo played an integral role in Los Rocos winning the European Championships in July, and his performance earned him a move to Barcelona. His contract has a substantial €500 million release clause. And it's fair to say one of the busiest clubs in Europe has once again been Chelsea. Another 11 players through the door and €241 million spent. They have now signed over 40 players since American business tycoon Todd Boehly bought the club in 2022. It's a bold strategy, but how likely is it to pay off?
I think anyone who watches football will look at Chelsea's squad and go, there is immense talent here. Yes, it lacks experience. Yes, it lacks a certain maturity, but the amount of people, technical and creative players especially, we have in the squad is impeccable. So when I look at the Wolves game, for example, Neto, I think that's a fabulous signing for us. I think one of the issues Chelsea faced last season is we were rubbish against low blocks. And having players like Neto, Felix, and of course Jadon Sancho, ball carriers who can just out of nowhere create magic and get us in the box against a low block, they're going to be really helpful signings. So there's been some really strong decisions made. I would love to have a more senior striker at the club. I would also love to have a world-class goalkeeper at the club. As much as I'm happy with signings, there's still a lot more positions in the squad I'd like to see filled for the money that we've spent.
Now, of course, the transfer period isn't just about what's happening in Europe. One of the biggest stories last summer was the new spending power of the Saudi Pro League. This year, it hasn't been quite as prolific. In fact, their spending is down by around 77%, but their transfer activity has still proven that no player is safe. So, what is the season shaping up to be like in Saudi?
I think only time will tell, but I think from the first few matches in the season, you can tell that some teams are coming in with sharp teeth, just wanting to take it all. I think last season, of course, Al Hilal remains king, remains one of the most competitive teams in Saudi. But there was also the disappointment of Saudi teams not performing as they were expected in the Asian Champions League in particular. Last season, I think the fans were very happy with just having these stars and having these players that actually contributed a lot to their teams and to the league. But of course, it depends on the transfer. Some transfers were well received, some transfers were looked back on as something that maybe was not fully utilized or did not come into fruition the way that fans or the way that team management expected. I think that's why this season they've looked back and they're trying to be more and more strategic with who they sign to the teams and why they bring them on board.
Another season is well and truly underway. Let us know which signing you think will have the most impact using the hashtag #FootballNowSummerTransfers. That's all we've got time for from our studio here in Doha. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.